it's a little bit of improvisation. First, I want to start with the fact that we, in our invitation, talked about trust and respect that grew in the last few years that we came here. And that is the basis of collaboration and cooperation. Inner trust, inner respect. And that is a start of what we have done here and at home. The second thing that's important is the natural way of doing things. When Ken lent us the remnants of his archive, then at the same moment that we said to our members, there is an archive, it has to be scanned to protect it and to preserve it, but it also has to be opened to the public to be an instrument of learning what theosophy is. Then in the most natural way, at least 30 of our members said, okay, we help with scanning. And if they hadn't done that, our 400,000 scans wouldn't have been finished now. We only have to correct things, but all documents in Ken's archive are scanned now, all albums, all documents. And the only thing we didn't do were the books, because we damaged the books with a normal scan apparaat. Wat is apparaat? Scanner. Yes. And now Herman wants to buy a real book scanner used by the Royal Library in Holland to scan the books, the old books, without damaging them. And that is one of the things that happened in Holland. We came here this year and we met so many Theosophical friends from the Point Loma branch, let's say that. We never met, or we met once at 1988 at Emmett's house. And we just asked them, would you like to cooperate, to do a thing that we can open up the archive? And every one of you here from America said in the most natural way, our own members in the Blavatsky house did, yes, of course. Nicholas even told us, don't ask me anymore, just say what I can do. And now I don't ask it anymore. And everyone contributed something, and that is coming home at Friends, for we are used to work in Holland and we find the same mentality here. And that is a very heartwarming situation for us. And if people ask, what can we do in the future? Then I can say the future is born here because people contribute. And that's the only future you can have. If you say we don't do anything during a whole year and a year later we see each other again, not in San Diego but in San Francisco and so on, nothing happens, nothing grows. But now we are sure that something is growing, that we can protect more precious texts and books by letting the group of 30 that is now jobless can do other things. And we can ask other people to open up the things. And there is already a small group in Holland promising to make readable on the internet the texts of the archives about the Raja Yoga education method. We have to start small, for we are small in numbers and money, not small in heart. And we thought of two important things. First, the Raja Yoga method, education method of Catherine Tingley. And second, the work of Gottfried de Purucker. And in my first lecture, I didn't have so much time to talk about it. But Richard helped me by explaining to you the most important thing. If you try to study the Secret Doctrine, it is not so easy at first. And then you look around in all the Theosophical literature and you think, where can I find a little bit of explanation? And as a librarian, I always want to find and look in everything. So of all different Theosophical branches, I read the literature explaining the Secret Doctrine. And I'm not short-sighted, or I'm not for one group and against the other group, but it's really true that Gottfried de Purucker gave the very, very best explanation of the Secret Doctrine. And it is a pity that other groups see Gottfried de Purucker as the fourth leader of that special branch. That's a pity, and I think we have to work for that they see Gottfried de Purucker as the best giver of explanations of the Secret Doctrine of H.P. Blavatsky, to lift GDP above the organizational level and show him as a real good teacher. So it's not our leader, but it is the best how do you say that? Uitlegger. Explainer of the thoughts in the Secret Doctrine. And perhaps we think it over. To do that in the future, that is thinking above the branches. And if we do that, we discovered that one of the unique contributions, and truth, you are right, unique contributions you can explain as a kind of arrogance, for we're the best. But that isn't true. We have to give other Theosophical organizations something. We don't give the ULT the courage to study the Secret Doctrine, for they did it so many times. They are very good at it. And we don't have to teach the Adyar Society to have a worldwide organization, for they're perfect in it. We have nothing to offer them in that direction, but we have something to offer them. And that is the 7 jewels of wisdom worked out by GDP, that you cannot find so well explained in the literature of other organizations. And the friends, our friends at ULT and at Adyar, even admitted, to our surprise, that they never heard about the 7 jewels in such a clear way. They know the 7 principles, but the 7 jewels in context with the 7 principles and the 7 paramitas, for why did HPB use and gave us 7 paramitas in the Voice of the Silence, while she speaks, Ken, you told us about 6 and 10, and then she gave 7. That has a meaning. And in our society, this is studied by years and years and years, and we can give that. We can offer that to our Theosophical friends everywhere as a special thing. So with not so many people and not so much money, we can start simple, to give the Raja Yoga method and to give GDP as a perfect explainer of the Secret Doctrine, especially in his line of esoteric teachings he gave, the fundamentals, the 12 teachings, and the dialogues. And that is what we like to start with, to give all works of GDP in their original form, originally authorized by GDP himself, and then use that as a method to teach. And Ben, as always, I'm very glad with you that you said we have to communicate on every form of media we use. And I hope Ken and Erwin and Herman will explain to us how to communicate by website. I do hope it is possible. And you heard Jan Kind, and Jan Kind gave us a very good example. He explained that later to us, how you can have a website magazine without opening up the possibility of chatting. For when we have our lodge meetings, we prepare ourselves. We turn inwards to our higher idealism before we start studying with each other. And when I see all the Theosophical blogs and other things, then I always have the idea that people, when writing on those blogs, didn't do this before they start to write. And Jan Kind said they can email me, they can send me all the emails they want, but the moment we are communicating, Theosophists have to raise themselves to the level where Theosophy is exchanged. We have to activate our inner discipline for Theosophists, for our courses, not for visitors. For visitors must come in as free as they want to come. But to discuss Theosophy on the internet, it has to be on the level that a Theosophist ought to communicate with each other. And Jan Kind was very, how do you say that, adamant in that. But they also said, Adyar said it, ULT said it, we haven't yet found the way to communicate by internet. And perhaps it's good for us here and at home when we go home to try to find a solution and to really make that solution as a concrete thing. And I am very glad that Erwin is here and his other internet friends. Every electronical thing, I listen to you. And we can do that. And we want to show you a few of the things that already have done. First of all, Ken had the idea to communicate on the 7 jewels of wisdom. And to do that, we needed the Theosophical manuals that are out of print now, or burnt out, how must I say that? Yes, it's the first manual. You see, you only have to open it up. It is your old manual, you know, and within a few weeks, I think, it is possible for us to have all the 12 manuals, and they can be put on the website. So you see, we have food to distribute already, provided that it is used as an instrument to have communication and to teach. Just throwing some letters and paper, or not paper, but some letters on the internet, no one is inspired by that. You can buy books and not being inspired at all. And talking to another about the books, you can nourish your idealism. You see, there were 2 names. Okay. You see 2 different publishers, and in fact it's one in this whole project. This is the only new thing in the whole book. And we make all 12, you see, the ISBN and the edition, we must give the numbers still. This is the first attempt, the 12 manuals. And after this is the first attempt to publish the esoteric teachings, or perhaps esoteric instructions. Nothing is already definitive. To put this on the internet, and I can I say it, John? That John Drees, the maker of the first index, promised to help us with a larger and index where you have more time to do it. When you did it, you didn't have so many pages of Emmet and not so many time. And now you can take your time and take the pages, for we always can add it on internet. So if you say, I need 7 years, then after 7 years, we have a good index.
I think that's correct. Well, let's put it that
Oh!
that is her opinion.
It is strange. It broadens out. It's not the good. Yes, they are the old-fashioned pages. You know, you see the small brackets with 17. That is the way we want to do, as in the Secret Doctrine, that you always can see where page 7 of the original edition is. So that is the way we can give it a new form, in a new format, good readable, good printable, and then you always can see what is page 7 on the original. Yeah?
What? The original, you mean Point Loma's publication of 10 or 15 years ago, or original back in the 30s? Same?
So.
The indexes were all made on the old esoteric instructions, so the pagination is the same, or very, very slightly different.
And this is our surprise for today. Yeah? You know, in the temple, and everyone thought it's the last book ever printed, so it will be republished last. No, we took it first, that everyone could read this book continuously and not waiting for 6 years till the whole project is over. So in the temple is totally corrected and totally ready to be put on the website. And many of yours have read the book. If you don't have, try it on the website. It's a very valuable thoughts of GDP. And I see no one being really happy, so either you already have the book or you don't know what you miss. So, yes. Do I have to explain that to you here? I try. Old friends of GDP, I'll try. In Point Loma, they had, at the time of the changing of the seasons, special occasions where people came together to think about that time of the year and what is possible at those times concerning initiation. And if initiation is a too important word, what you can find within yourself as spiritual opportunities to accelerate your own growth, to be a teacher, to become a teacher for your fellow man. And this is readable? No. But you see, there are 4 chapters with 4 symposia. They were presented during those times. But afterwards, GDP gave extra teachings on the same subject. And they are so very, very, very inspirational. So enjoy and think about the symposia, but throw your whole soul in the teachings on the same things, and that makes the book so very worthy. Are there questions about it? Yes, Nicholas.
The first half of each section
Yes.
is actually a group activity.
Yes.
And that's what I found valuable. You can get a group of folks together, alternate reading paragraphs, throw in some dramatics if you wish. And it's not purely something to read.
You're so correct. When we were in Bringhausen in Germany this year during the summer solstice, the whole group of Theosophical members there read those things, and it was impressive how a unity was built just by reading and thinking as a group. You're so right. It's a magic thing. Yes, Ken?
Just a kind of a point of the maybe bigger view, in that, as far as I know, of course, in many ancient cultures, the solstices and equinoxes were celebrated, but in the 20th century, it was at Point Loma where this really began, and Purucker unique to point this out. And then, of course, today we have all over the world, and even in the general consciousness, I think there's a heightened appreciation of the solstice and equinoctial time periods, and literally, especially in the pagan religious renewal, there's huge celebrations of the solstices and equinoxes. But I really think Purucker opened up that into the, I don't know of any direct links, but there don't need to be, actually. I think that it came from that Point Loma period.
Thank you, Ken. And I think it is very necessary that we give that back to the world, because what we see in our family is a kind of turkey indigestion around Christmas. And people really want more. They really want to know what is so important and special about the winter solstice. And if we agree that esotericism is okay, but just to give it to people really seriously thinking about that, then I think we do a good job. Is this to your content? Yes?
Maybe to say a little bit more about the whole project. The idea is to put them on the internet. In which form is still under discussion. You can think about PDFs. You can think about e-books. E-books is, for me, not the best one, because that is a free-floating format. So every time you put it on another screen, you see another page layout. I don't know how you study, but for me, I'm able to remember on which page and in which corner certain remarks are. So if you float the layout all the time, then I have to search again and so on. PDF for me, fixed format, is much nicer, but we can do both. From technical point of view, it is no problem. Another good thing is to know that we have two ideas in mind. Put them on the internet, but also put them in print. And doing the print more economically, we have investigated already now two other techniques like printing on demand. We have identified set up two possibilities to do it. So in the coming month, September, October or so, we will run a number of tests with the different, let's say, combination of machines. And then we have a possibility to make more printing on demand without filling our stock area really to the knock, because that is one of the biggest problems we have on the moment. So we try to do it more dynamically. If we do printing on demand, we can send the files to a printer in San Diego. In January we have seen a very good one, and we can just say to the person, make us 1 or make us 25 or make us 100. Just on the demand. So from technical point of view, there are a lot of opportunities. Only the logistic and how to handle it locally, we have still to work out, but I think that is also solvable, that type of things.
So and if you demand us to have one copy board and print it, then if you buy all the 12 manuals, you will have this on your bookshelf. This will be the colors of the covers of the 12 manuals, but it's only a detail. And this is perhaps a little bit what will come on the internet. In our Purucker project, we call it like that, GDP's explanation of the 7 jewels were supported by his Theosophical crew around him, the important writers. And Emmett Small started a whole project to verzamelen, collect from all those articles GDP's students wrote, the articles about reincarnation and karma. There are 7 jewels. And we heard from old Point Loma members, yes, Emmett asked me to look for the others in the literature, but I have no time and I are too old for that. And we thought, we're not too old, we have time, and we can support that initiative of Emmett Small to work on the project of the 7 jewels. We already scanned his book to use all those articles, for it's a brilliant collection to support the work GDP did. Of course, it will never replace the works of Gottfried de Purucker, but it's a really good addition to it. So this is one of our first small projects, and whoever wants to look and find the articles of the GDP crew about Swabhava or something else, everyone is welcome. Yes?
Actually, maybe a little gap in the communication, but that other part is actually already prepared in manuscript, Swabhava, etc. Yeah, and of course more can be always added to that. That part we never got to complete into printed form.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Surprise. Fame. Yeah. Can I give this first look, first view of the terrific good work? I don't know if that's English, but it's marvelous what Helen Harris did. She made albums like this high, and so many pages of the most important things, also her thoughts, happening in Point Loma. This is her G. de Purucker album. Can you do... Yes? These are only the photos, for we selected the photos from the text. And every photo in the photo archive will have an, how do you say that, a subject under it? Capture. Caption. Ah, new word. It is broadened, so you don't have the right perspective. But everything Helen Harris did will, in a good way, in a responsible way, put out on the internet, and Ken will decide with us what his wishes are, how to do it. This gives you a preview of what will come in the next years. Only one thing I still want to show you, and that's the Raja Yoga initiative, the Raja Yoga project. And that is important for our members as well, for the members helping me worked so very hard to be able to present this to you. Very quickly we went to the archive and we took out what is very important to learn what the Raja Yoga education is. And you see, we divided it in a few things. First, what is Raja Yoga education? Then the accounts of the pupils. We have diaries of boys and girls living there. Also accounts and memories. When they were 80, they were interviewed, how their youth was, very instructing. Then we have folders to give out to the public. Come in Point Loma, have your education and why. also very instructive for us, for we can learn how to present the method, and instruction for teachers. And we found one whole string of 100 education pages in the Lotus Circle Messenger and the Raja Yoga Messenger, no, the Lotus Circle Messenger, that GDP gave his Vade Mecum series to learn teachers in the Raja Yoga school for children, the Lotus Circles, the circles outside of Point Loma or within Point Loma, but really also in Holland and Germany and Sweden, they all read those papers and the Vade Mecum page every month. And that is so important for us. For in fact, it is an instruction for parents how to teach their children in a very playful way and still do that Raja Yoga education method. Historical information, it's beautiful on KT, on GDP. And then the teaching material about drama, about music. And from that part, I took the little book I showed you 2 days ago. A simple little heap of photocopies. And it's a seed, it's an acorn from which we can let grow a whole oak when we work together, and when we work together like the fingers of one hand and perhaps of two hands, we can talk about that. This is what we wanted to present you of what we have done in so little time with so many members, which I want to thank for that. And we hope to present you much more next year.